if you are a guest here with us this morning, or this, Chris, you got me. It's catching up here. If you're a guest here with us this evening, welcome, and a special Merry Christmas to you. My name is Eric, and I'm one of the pastors here at Grace Community Church. Something that we have been spending the last couple of weeks talking about as we've been moving through this Advent season is the experience that we all have in life, this experience of waiting. And that experience of waiting takes a variety of forms. We wait around issues of relationships, or maybe we find ourselves waiting around issues of finances, or issues of health, or issues of grief. And then on top of that is all just the normal routine experiences of waiting that we have in our lives, whether that's the DMV, or traffic, or the airport. But something that's also a reality about us in the world is that, at least for me, maybe you're better than me, I don't tend to wait well. It's not an experience that I tend to enjoy. When I encounter times where I'm required to wait, it generally does not bring up happy feelings for me. I don't leave the house thinking, I hope the DMV is packed today, or I hope that they are way behind at the doctor's office today so I can just get some me time in. That's not what I'm hoping for. The more we wait, the more annoyed that we get. And the thing is, companies and businesses have started to realize this. So there's been a wide array of efforts by a variety of businesses to make the experience of waiting in their industry a little bit less irritating. And they do this in a bunch of ways. But one of the industries that's put the most amount of time into managing our experience of waiting is the theme park industry. If you've been to one of the really big theme parks over the last 10, 20 years, like Disney World or Universal Studios or these big ones, while you're waiting for one of their major attractions, you'll probably notice something if you stop and you look around and you're paying attention. You don't generally find yourself in just like a basic switchback line that kind of like you see at the airport where you're just kind of going back and forth and back, and you pass the same person like 18 times on your way through the line. It's a different sort of experience. They've turned the line into something else, into something that's meant to engage you in the experience even before you get to the ride or you get to the attraction. Sometimes there's elements in the line that are giving you some sort of backstory about what it is that you're about to experience, or they're setting the stage in some way for what you're about to go through. It's beginning to prepare you for the experience to come. And they've taken the experience that we need to go through in these parks and made it part of the story. And some experiences do it better than others, but it's had a drastic impact on the experience of waiting, so much so that there's actually some attractions in some of these major parks that some people, when given the option to actually forego the line, don't want to forego the line. They want to go through the line because missing the line means they miss some very crucial part of the story. And this is something that we find to be true as we look back to the first Christmas 2,000 years ago and the many, many years that led up to it, and something that really remains true for us in the world today. Waiting was part of the story for Israel as they cycled through their history of kings and then exile and then returning from exile and then living for years under foreign oppression. This waiting was an important and a crucial part of their story in a variety of ways. But there was one crucial lesson that they needed to keep having repeated to them over and over and over again throughout their history. And the lesson was this: the world's powers will not save you. They had to relearn that lesson over and over and over again. That long history was meant to communicate something important. It created what you might call a holy dissatisfaction. And it displayed to them that the Messiah could not just be a slightly better version of what they'd experienced in the world, a slightly better politician, or a slightly better military leader. They needed rescue that was deeper than their circumstances. And they're waiting, and our waiting today, whatever form it might take in our lives, teaches us something important. We need more. We need more than just better. We need more than just improvement of our circumstances. We need more than better political policies or better financial security or better health or better relationships. And the more we wait for these things, the more we begin to grow more and more dissatisfied. And this is true whether or not we find these things or not. We're either dissatisfied while we wait for something that we haven't received, or we receive something and then we just start becoming dissatisfied with that as we wait for something else. And if you're here tonight, even as we head into this time of year where we sing about hope and joy and peace, and yet you find yourself dissatisfied as you wait for something better, know this. You're not waiting for your story to begin. You are in the story of God. A story that is working to bring all of us at some point to that place of holy dissatisfaction. Because a holy dissatisfaction helps us see that we need more than this world can really provide. If this world were set up, were able to provide satisfaction for us as human beings, there would never have been a need for the first Christmas. And we certainly wouldn't be here tonight looking back on it and celebrating it. It's only in that place of holy dissatisfaction that we can really encounter Jesus. And let him bring us to a place of genuine hope for a holy satisfaction only found in him. And it's now, at Christmas time, that we celebrate that Jesus didn't look at the dissatisfaction that existed in the world, the insufficiency of us and the world, and ignore it. He entered it. As Paul writes in his letter to the Galatians, in Galatians chapter 4, Paul writes these words, "But when the right time came, God sent his Son, born of a woman, subject to the law. God sent him to buy freedom for us who were slaves to the law, so that he could adopt us as his very own children." This is the hope of Christmas. The hope that the coming of Jesus and his ultimate death and resurrection for us offers us. Not tweaks to this life, not subtle improvements of our circumstances, but the hope of freedom from the things that we are slaves to in this world, and adoption into a new family as children of God. Freedom from the endless pursuit of satisfaction in things that will fail every single time. And connection to the one and only person who is ever really able to offer it to us. And now Christmas is not about having everything figured out, and following Jesus is not about having everything figured out. It's about being willing to receive what God has already offered. So if you find yourself here tonight experiencing this sense of holy dissatisfaction tonight, will you recognize and accept it as an invitation into the hope and satisfaction that only Jesus can provide? Why don't we pray before we move on in worship?